Hello, I'm Brody Iverson, and this is your 2025 Green Bay Packers. So for the past about 2 to 3 years, I've been kind of just going ham on this team and this franchise. I'm currently does it show? No, it doesn't show. I'm currently on like decade 2. I'm on decade 2, year 17 right now. And I wanted to go over this project I've been going through and basically, tell the story of everything, because there's a lot that has happened and it genuinely just makes me, I just want to share it with everybody. Doing, what I've been up to. The past, this has literally been a pet project of mine before I moved to Chicago, and I moved to Chicago in 2021. We'll start with the quarterbacks. Right now, we have a new quarterback, a new franchise quarterback that one thing I really like is if you go to the attributes, it'll say how acquired free agency. I just picked this guy up off the street. So basically, he wasn't gonna be our next franchise QB. Let's run it back. Let's run it back a little bit. Let's go to the Falcons. The Falcons have our old franchise QB in Donnie Bronson. Donnie Bronson was our franchise QB for the longest since I drafted him, pretty much. And he was our franchise QB for the longest time. I mean, look at the stats I had with him. He was injured for most of this season, but he just came back. He was still good. And you can tell he was injured last season, and he was just in and out this entire season with the Falcons. His last season with us was a bit of a down year for him, but he was starting to get old, so I wanted to move on and find a new franchise quarterback. So I just let him walk. I didn't even trade him. I just let him walk, which you can tell here. But his stats are just out of this world. I mean, the fuck? His stats are insane. He was boasting an average of 58% completion. And this is just his stats throughout the year. And he was our franchise quarterback, and I was going to move on. Let's go to the Texans now. I was going to move on to Damian Schultz. I thought his name was Dalton Schultz. That's an actual player in the NFL right now. I was going to move on to Damian Schultz as our next franchise QB. But as you can tell, he was okay with us. We drafted him in 2022, and I wanted him... What happened is he got injured. He got injured in 2023. Or no, he got injured in 2024 and was out for pretty much the rest of the season. So I needed to get a backup quarterback, because I didn't have a solid backup quarterback. And that's when I went and found it right. He had an amazing accuracy, but needed work on the throw power. His throw power and his throw accuracy was both 92, and he was 70 overall because his awareness was garbage. I just picked him up, and this was the season he had. Taking out Damian Schultz's place, and he only threw one interception that entire last half of the season. It was insane. This guy was on one, and he was really good this season too. I mean, 44th, 100 yards, 128.3 rating, 53 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, and a 59.7 completion rating. This man was cracked. And then this guy, I think I drafted this guy. No, I picked him up off the street, just to back him up, because he has good throw power and throw accuracy. His awareness is just crap. Once you get his awareness up, I should be able to trade him for some picks. And that's what I did with Schultz. I traded him for a first and a second to the Texans. And I now have 2 first rounds and 2 second rounds. Alright, now the halfback room. Now, I'm going to bring up a photo. We had a franchise running back before we got to the one that we have now. And this was him, Joseph McDonald. He had a total of 18,000 yards after I let him go. I let him walk this season because he was getting old. He wasn't doing that well. Like, look at his average was dropping. These were his stats before, he left. He had 18,000 yards. He was leading the NFL in all-time rushing yards at 18,772 when I traded. I think I actually know. I traded him to the Cardinals. And got some picks out of it. I don't remember what kind of picks I got out of it, but he had 223 tutties and 3,000 attempts. His average was almost 6 yards a carry. That man was a bulldozer. Like, he was more bulldozer. And every time you would look at the study opponent, because you can go to study opponent and it'll tell you, like, all of the, everything about every player that's starting. And it would say, he's not very explosive, yet he would explode out, big runs all the time. Like, he was absolutely just amazing. But Leroy Davis is one of my favorites. Oh, you know what? Before we go on to this, I want to show the acolytes. This year, right, won MVP and quarterback of the year and went to the Pro Bowl. So he has his first MVP and got, to the Pro Bowl. Bronson, our last franchise QB, had 7 MVPs and 11 Pro Bowl selections. He's only this is his first time going to the Pro Bowl since he was our quarterback, which is insane. It's insane. But he was pretty much MVP almost every season. McDonald was also one of our MVPs that had happened. But let's go back. I think if I do this, it should reset. Boom. Boop. Yeah. So, Leroy Davis, I drafted him round 1, pick 32 in the NFL draft. Because I've been winning a lot of Super Bowls. We'll get to that point when we start doing the offseason. But Leroy Davis, I drafted him. He was just absolutely amazing. His carry was insane. And the fact that he got 1,000 yards his rookie season, and then 1,700 yards and 1,800 yards in back-to-back 20 touchdown seasons, like, this guy's really good. And he's averaging 5.2 yards a carry right now. Like, he's just really good. And only fumbles, like, a handful of times. These stats do not include the playoffs, by the way. This is only for the regular season. But he's been amazing for the running game. We were bouncing around from running back to running back. We couldn't exactly find a good running back to replace McDonald. But I finally, drafted one and found one that was good to replace McDonald. Or good to be, our next franchise running back, I should say. And his acolytes are, he won Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2023, went to the Pro Bowl, and then he won MVP in 2024 because we didn't have a quarterback at that time, because we had Schultz. We were trying to do Schultz, and then we picked up Wright, and he ended up taking over. And then he also got Offensive Player of the Year that year, Running Back of the Year, Pro Bowl, and then Running Back of the Year again in Pro Bowl this year. And Calderon is a guy I picked up. He's just there. He exists. He doesn't really do a whole lot. He's not great. That's why they're both him and Drayton. Drayton's not terrible. I just didn't like taking snaps away from Davis because it was just annoying. So I put these guys on 1 year. These guys are on 1 year contracts and they'll probably be gone. And then Tyson I just picked up off the street. Like, I literally just picked this guy up off the street. And he's going to be the backup to Davis. And he's probably going to be our 3-down running back moving forward. Fullbacks are alive and well, though this season I didn't really utilize him that much. But he still went to the Pro Bowl. Like, his acolytes are Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl. He's got 4 Pro Bowl selections. This is Warwick O'Neal. We drafted him. Mike Bohm is another guy I just picked up. I drafted him, like, last year. He's speedy, but his strength is not as good as Warwick O'Neal's. Warwick O'Neal's more of a blocking guy. There's blocking. Oops, I am pushing the wrong one. Blocking, yeah. See, look how many pancakes he has. Like 145 in his career. That's insane. He had the most pancakes he's ever had this season. So he's been more of a blocking guy than anything, and he's been really good at it. Wide receiver 1 for this year has always been a very interesting room for me. We've had Haynes since we drafted him. He is our superstar wide receiver. I mean, he is leading the NFL in all-time receiving yards. He didn't do a whole lot in 2013 because he wasn't really there yet. I just drafted him. He was a rookie. And then he started picking up a lot of steam in 2014, and that's when he became our leading receiver. And he was just on one every season, you know. I mean, look at how much he was averaging per game. Or averaging per catch, I believe, is what this is. 25 yards, a 28.6 per yards per catch is insane. 232 touchdowns, 22,612 yards. And these are all, these games, every game that I've done here, I've played every single one of these games. I only missed one season, and that was in 2011. But that was because we were having, running back issues. We were having, quarterback issues. There was a lot happening that season. I just kind of skipped it. But that was years ago, eons ago, that I skipped it. And I haven't missed the season since. I did 2012 and on pretty much. And I've played every single game. I haven't simulated a single game. I've played every single game. But Haynes is starting to get old. That's why he's on a 1-year contract. We only have one guy under contract in the wide receiver room coming up this next season. Because this past season, I was running into a lot of issues with dropped balls. A lot of people were dropping balls in this past season. They were just dropping balls after dropping balls. And it was just kind of getting annoying. We'll get to the stats eventually for this past season, because I do want to review that. Because that's always fun to go over. Bright's the only one we're keeping. I drafted him round 2, pick 1, because I, get picks when I trade people. I just get amazing picks, because why not? But he's been average at best most seasons. But he's going to be the leading guy moving forward, because he's young still. He's pretty much the only guy I've got. Polk got drafted a long time ago, but I've rarely used him. He's just not been... he's tall, but he hasn't been able to, get the separation he needs for me to get, balls on him. I might keep him, but I haven't decided yet. We're going to get to that point. Lucas is a guy I drafted, but I only wanted him on a 1-year... I did not mean to do that. Lucas is a guy I drafted, but I didn't do anything with him this year. His stats are, his catch. I need somebody who has better catching, and these guys all have subpar catching, They just drop brick hands balls all the time. It's insane. And then they can't carry worth a crap. This guy was our kick return. This guy was our kick returner, and he would fumble balls all the time. His carry is garbage. So that's why I'm not keeping him. And Baldwin, another guy I drafted, not really working out. None of these guys just have the catch stat that I need. So that's why I'll be moving on from majority of these guys. I'm probably looking at the draft for a new wide receiver. Tight end has always been a fun one for me. We'll go to the Bears for this one, because the Bears picked up our last all-star tight end that I had. Calderon has 12,000 yards as a tight end, 800, 1,400. He was a guy I drafted in round 3, pick 11, and round 1, pick 32, I should say. And we traded with the Bears. We traded with the Bears. We traded with him to the Bears, and he hasn't done crap since he left. But he was amazing with us. Even though it says NA, that is the Packers. I've had him since we drafted him. So He was amazing. He would just catch balls after balls after balls. Like, his touchdowns were insane. But he hasn't done jack squat since he left the Packers. But let's go back to the Packers. Weasley is now our leading guy, and he is absolutely insane. I mean, look at that speed. 82, his catch is 91. That'll only get better. He bricked hands a lot of balls. We'll get to that point. But we had a lot of drops this past season, even if they didn't count. A lot of drops don't count, even if they just bounce off the receiver's hands. But, I mean, Weasley is just on another level for a tight end. Like, he's... there's a reason why he's going to the Pro Bowl. Let's look at his awards. His awards were Offensive Rookie of the Year last year and Offensive Player of the Year this year. So that's how good he is. I forgot to look at Haynes' awards. He won MVP once because I'm pretty sure that was the year Bronson went down. But he won MVP once. He's pretty much won he's won League Offensive Player of the Year 4 times. Been to the Pro Bowl 11 times. Like, this dude is amazing. And he still won Wide Receiver of the Year this year, even though he really wasn't that good. Like, his stats he didn't even hit 1,000 yards this season. The first time he's ever done that is not hit 1,000 yards. So, but the reason, we'll go back to wide receivers real quick. The reason I was bouncing around, I didn't know who to start first. I wasn't sure. Once I threw Haynes in there, though, things started clicking and popping off. But we'll go back to tight end. Marco Weasley is just absolutely cracked out of his mind. And he's just, a beast. His speed is amazing for a tight end. His catch is only going to get better. His awareness is really good. His carry needs work, but we'll get there maybe. Chris Clark is a guy I drafted. He's okay. I wanted to keep him just to have another rookie, just to have another tight end to back up Weasley. Campbell is a guy I picked up. I drafted. I didn't really do a whole lot with him. He had 1 reception for -3 yards. Oof, brutal. But yeah, he's just another body in the tight end room. Now the O-line is hard to talk about because it's legit the same across like the entire O-line. It's just they always all go to the Pro Bowl. Whoever's leading, just because I'm good with the ball and throw the ball a lot. These guys just go to the Pro Bowl all the time because they don't allow a lot of sacks. Because most of my sacks are outside of the pocket because I just roll out of the pocket all the time. But you can't really write anything home about any of these guys because they're all just pretty much the same. And we'll get to their contracts and stuff eventually, especially if John Doe. He's like one of the guys I might want to keep, but I haven't decided yet. And then this guy's and then the backups, guys I've drafted, just kind of backing them up or picked up off the street to back up. Left edge. I used to say left end for this, but left edge is Klein is a guy I drafted. I don't really remember. I drafted him round 1, pick 32. Well, there you go. And his acolytes are non-existent, but he's been very, very, very solid for us, especially these past 2 seasons. He should have gone to the Pro Bowl this year, especially. But he's been pretty good for us. Like he's been, deflecting pass. You only deflected 1 pass. But the whole thing is sacks. If they hit 10 sacks, I'm satisfied with 10 sacks. And he hit 11 this season, so that's pretty good. We had, for left to end, before I found Klein, for the longest time, we had Connor Barwin, as you see here. And it doesn't count his sacks, but he was extremely solid for us for a long time. But as he was getting older and needed to move on from him, and he didn't hit the 10 sack limit. So, I mean, his contract was running out at that point, so I think I either traded him or let him walk. Either way, he's been pretty good, pretty solid outside of it, outside of Green Bay. So, but he's gonna be retiring real soon. He has to be. But he was basically the guy that was our guy. for the longest time. But right now, Klein is our guy. He's basically our guy for the next while because he's just overall extremely solid and can pretty much put up with any offensive line and bully the hell out of them. Right edge has always been our caveat problem. I had Joseph Cobb here for the longest time, and he had like one stellar season, and then he could never replicate that stellar season. So I think I traded him to the Vikings, and as you see, he's not doing a whole lot. The only thing about Cobb is that he is speedy, but he wasn't very strong. He was only very aware because everybody else around him is aware. But he wasn't that good, and right edge has always been the outlier for us because we could never really get a solid right edge going at all. But right now, D-Payne, I remember this season, Cobb got hurt for a couple weeks, and he only had like 2 sacks on the season, and then Payne came in and immediately was getting like sacks, like 2 sacks back-to-back games. And it was like, all right, this guy has to be the guy moving forward, and it has been a very solid choice with 11 sacks this season. He's not tackling a whole lot. That is something he needs to work on. But his sacks have been astounding. He's been really good for us on the right edge. And we usually have, right edge is one of those things where we're just like, not sure about. And he should have gone to the Pro Bowl too, but he didn't. But, and then this guy I just drafted. He'll be a thing. Bert Harrison was our last defensive tackle. And when I play defense, defensive tackle is what I usually play. And Bert Harrison leads the all-time sack record. I think he's 10 off. I think the all-time sack record is like 200. But I had him in 2012. I drafted him in 2012, and he was just a sack master. I wish it would show, but he was just a sack master. He was getting all the sacks all the time. But then he had a really bad season in 2021 where I played him the whole season, and he was getting no sacks at all. I couldn't get past anybody. I was getting caught up on everything. It was just not a good season for Bert Harrison, and then he had one last good season, and then we let him walk because he was getting old, and he is old. He's 13 years in the NFL, and he hasn't done a whole lot outside of Green Bay. So that shows you how things are going. Our current... I didn't realize this guy was at 99 overall already. What the hell? Our defensive tackle room is, I guess, amazing. Perkins hasn't really done a lot. I'm probably going to end up trading him if he's at 99. He's speedy, too. Anyways, Lumen is the guy I've been playing a lot this past season. And this guy's just crap. I mean, he's just crap. He didn't do anything in 2021 because he was mostly a backup. And then in 2022, he didn't do a whole lot. And then he took over in 2023 and had 20 sacks, and then 15 sacks, and then 18 sacks. Like, this guy is cracked out of his mind. And defensive tackle is what I play on defense just because I like bull rushing the quarterback a lot and sacking him. And, Lumen is just out of his mind. He's just getting after quarterbacks all the time. And I didn't realize Perkins was coming up that quickly. This offseason, I love doing the offseason work because it's just a lot of fun to me. Our linebacker room has always been an interesting one because you can never win awards with the linebackers at all, like ever, for whatever reason. I think they need to have like a astronomical amount of interceptions and an astronomical amount of sacks for them to get like even an award, even noticed. But Perry has been very solid. Perry's been very solid. I didn't realize Richard was coming up that quickly. Anyways, Perry's been very solid. He's speedy. They're both very speedy. And I'm keeping Perry under contract. And I'm probably gonna have to let Richard go because he's gonna be commanding a lot of money with that overall. even though he hasn't done anything. Oh, you know what? He's probably been on special teams. That's what he's done. But Perry's been solid. Middle linebacker's always been an outlier because we had Boris Johnson for a while, but he wasn't performing well, so I let him go, and we've just been kind of cycling through middle linebackers. And I think I found one that I think is pretty okay, and Foster and Mobley. They're both pretty solid when they rotate in and out all the time. They're both speedy, so that's exactly what I look for. And then this guy... Probably gonna let this guy go because that's a lot of money to be paying a guy who's not gonna be playing at all. I didn't realize that. Oh my god. You know what? Get the hell out of here. Good lord. Right, outside linebacker is pretty much the same way. Ted Jackson was a guy I drafted a while ago, and he makes a lot of splash plays with interceptions and stuff. He has done a lot of interceptions lately. Didn't realize that. And, ooh, he's not playing well. But he's always been solid and a nice addition to the defense. But these guys never get any attention. Oh, we got Pro Bowl in 2021. What was his stats? 36 tackles, 9 sacks, 3 interceptions. He's been very solid for us. The linebacker group has always just been solid, but nothing more than just solid. They've never been stellar. Cornerback, on the other hand, though, has been a lot of fun to draft and develop. Blankert was a guy I drafted. He's had a down season this past couple seasons, comparatively, but he's still very solid what he does. His pass to play, he's allowed a lot of catches. That's the problem, is that these cornerbacks allow a lot of catches. But Blankert's still been very solid for us. He's very extremely speedy. He's got good strength. His awareness, he's just an overall really good player, and he's probably going to become our number 1 next year because Kershaw's starting to get old. But I want to keep Kershaw because we drafted him, round 3, pick 2, and he became like a stellar interception catcher. He's basically he was really good this past year, He's basically our interception, our Trayvon Diggs. He still allows catches a lot. It gets burned a lot, but he is an interception machine. Like, his stats are stellar. Sindel is a guy I just drafted. Warner is a guy I have a sweet spot for. He leads the league. He leads the NFL in. He has the NFL record, I should say, for most interceptions at 92. He's not our number 1 guy anymore because Kershaw and Blankard took over. But he is basically our, leading interception guy. And my soft spot for him is that we picked him up off the street because our then cornerbacks, we were having a lot of trouble bouncing from cornerback to cornerbacks because I couldn't find a very, very, solid one that was just picking off guys all the time like Kershaw does. And Warner was, and one of the guys went down, got hurt, basically. And, I picked Warner up off the street, and he was just a guy that, was just off the street. I just picked him up off the street in free agency. And he immediately was making an impact on special teams. Every time there was a fumble on special teams, he would scoop it up and run into the end zone. He balled out on special teams, and it gave me attention, and he eventually became our leading cornerback. And he was just picking off guys all the time. He was absolutely stellar for this team, and I wanted him to. The problem with Madden 10, that's what I'm playing, is that guys won't just sign one-day contracts with the teams that they got drafted by. or had a very good career with. So you kind of have to try and keep them for them to retire as a Packer. So that's why he's just kind of there. He's just filling up space for the cornerbacks. And I'm just going to have him retire. I had to do the same thing for Champ Bailey, because when I first started, we had Champ Bailey. And I just kept signing him to one-year contracts because I wanted him to retire. I wanted him to retire with the Packers, and that's why he's a 3-year contract at his age, because I want him to retire as a Packer. Free safety is a fun one to do because Norman has been like very, very, very stellar as a free safety. As good as a free safety can be, you know. He had a down year this year. He's getting old, but he's a tackling machine, man. He is a tackling machine. And I remember when I drafted him, I was like, man, this guy is really good. I really want this guy, and I made sure I could get him. And he's made 7 Pro Bowls in a row. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. And he barely made it this year. Like, he got in the last couple of weeks. Because he was starting to pick off players. He was starting to pick off balls a lot and was just making a lot of headway in that. And he was able to sneak into the Pro Bowl this year. And he's got 7 years of Pro Bowl, which is just insane. In a row even. And that's insane. Monaco is a guy, I'm probably going to have to let him go because he's going to want a lot of money. And he deserves to get paid for how okay he is. He's mostly been on special teams, but I'm just going to probably let him go. Safety has always been. I genuinely can't remember who was our safety before Buckley. But Buckley came onto the scene, and he was making. Buckley's thing is he was making acrobatic interceptions left and right. Like, he would absolutely stretch his body out to catch balls, and that's how he got my attention. Is that he was just, acrobatically intercepting balls. He's been these past few seasons, but he's still a tackling machine. And, he's pretty much our guy right now. But his strength has a lot to be desired still, because he can lose a lot of tackle battles. Kicker and punter are pretty much the same. You just draft a guy and work them until they get to kicking power and accuracy 99, and they both are, so. And then you sign them to 7-year contracts, and you keep them until they start getting old. And that's how they both are right now. And that is your 2025 Green Bay Packers. Now, I want to go over the offseason because the offseason is always a lot of fun for me to do, and I wanted to go through the offseason with y'all. And that's, before we do that real quick, we're going to recap this season. This season was probably the best season I've had playing this. From an offensive and defensive perspective. Ignoring the Cougars, who have a clown horn as their thing. It's funny. But these are the Lions. The Lions moved to Boston, and the Boston Cougars now. But this has been the most solid season for this team. First overall in offense, 10th in defense. Usually my defense is giving up a lot of yards and stuff, not being 10th. They're never 10th overall in defense. But, now that we have a solid running back and a quarterback who's amazing, we're just killing people left and right. And our defense has been suffocating. Like, look at these. The most points I allowed this season was 32 against the Cowboys. And that game was pretty close. But, I mean, if you look at these, 35-0 against the Cougars. The closest game was against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are a very good team all of a sudden. Ravens, we suffocated. Vikings, we suffocated. Bengals, we suffocated. Steelers, we suffocated. Tigers, we suffocated. Cowboys got a lot. But we suffocated the Bears. The Warhogs, we suffocated. The Falcons, where Bronson, we went to Atlanta to play against Bronson. And we suffocated them. Giants, we suffocated. Vikings, we suffocated. I mean, our defense had just turned it up, and they had a very good stretch here, barely allowing any point at all. Like, they were on one until, the end of the season, but that's not surprising. But at that point it was like 56 to something. And then in the playoffs, the team absolutely stepped it up in the playoffs. And because we get the first seed, defense, and I should preface that I'm playing this on All Pro. I'm not doing all Madden because then I have to be catching my own balls, and I don't really want to do that. Because that would lead to more brick hands, and the last thing I need is more brick hands. But then we had the Falcons come to Lambeau, and we had Bronson's return. You know, that was a really good story. Bronson's return to the Packers, and we absolutely suffocated the hell out of them. And then we went to the NFC Championship game, suffocated the hell out of the Cowboys, and then we didn't allow a single score against the... These guys were the Miami Dolphins, but now they're the Las Vegas Desperados, and I hate that name, and I hate how they look. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna move them back. So my plan for the offseason is to take over ownership of them, move them back to Miami, give them back the Dolphins, and just like let it go. Because I hate the Las Vegas Desperados. It's so bad. Well, we're gonna move on to the offseason now, and we'll see how the offseason shakes out. This is my favorite part of doing this, going into 2026. So I want to apologize if this seems scatterbrained and a little bit all over the place. I don't have a script. I'm just kind of like winging it and talking about this team as I go. I've already been going for 40 minutes, and you can tell I have a lot of passion for this team and for this franchise that I've set up. Like, we're going into year 18, and I only skipped one season, and that was 2011 because the quarterback I drafted I didn't like, or because we did to start off the franchise. I always like to do fantasy draft, and it basically throws all the players from all the teams into a draft, and you get to draft, you know, snake-like, and I pretty much just let it like auto draft because it takes forever. You don't know what the oh hey, I need to do Fan Appreciation Day still, but you don't know what to expect with that kind of stuff. And before we move on, this is the profits. My profits are pretty good now. I can actually start spending a little bit more on contracts, which is what I did pretty much. But basically, you know, I have a lot of passion for this team that I have kind of handcrafted myself, and it's very personal to me, and that's why I want to share it with you. I want to show you guys my passion project of the past like 2 to 3 years. So now we're getting into coaches retiring. I don't know who S. Looney is. A. Roberts has retired from the Rams. G. Gibbs has retired from the NFL. New England's coach. So this is Bill Belichick, but he didn't even get a name in this game. They just call him New England coach. And he finally retired. P. Pasqualoni has retired from the NFL. Tiki Lilbide retired. Joe Pilato retired from the Broncos. Steve Jerome. P. Balunduri. M. Hemmerdinger. R. Turner. And there you go. So the first thing I always do is I look at staffing. It looks like we need a OC. I can't even remember who our OC is. There's Ron Rivera. But you basically get to choose who you want for your offensive coordinator, head coach, defensive coordinator. Right now I have is he our defensive? This is our defensive coordinator right now. Our offensive coordinator, Joe Barry. Joe Barry! One of my favorite things about Madden 10 is that sometimes retired players will become coaches. So you can hire Ray Lewis, you can hire Singletary. Well, no, it's not Singletary. You can hire, you know, Ray Lewis, Kate Dawson, Willie Anderson, Porter, you know, whoever that guy is, Montgomery, Mannequins, Subert, Nolan, Donovan McNabb is even a coach. He's the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons now. Like, that's really cool. I need a defensive coordinator Oh, he's going back to Chicago. Levy Smith is going back to Chicago. What? 2020. That's amazing. That's actually amazing. Look, see, Charles Woodson is a coordinator. He's going to be the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Brian Urlacher was our... you can actually look at what their thing is. He's already won 3 Super Bowls with us. He's won 3 Super Bowls. 1, 2, 3. He was our D coordinator. I'm probably going to bring him back because he's just that good. Yeah, hey, he accepted our offer. And now we need a special teams guy. Wait, was he our O coordinator? Oh, you know what? No, I had John Del Rio as our defensive coordinator. He can go be a head coach somewhere. Or just do nothing this offseason. Sorry. Sorry. Wait, I made a mistake. I actually made a mistake. I meant to get an offensive coordinator. But yeah, you see the point. That's one of my things I love about Madden 10 is the fact that players can become coaches. Now, I need an offensive guy. Willie Anderson. Become our own coordinator. Now, where's Rich Bisaccia? He went to Tennessee? No. We'll give you more money for 3 years. Thank you. We're paying out the ass for a special teams player, but I love Rich Bisaccia too much not to keep him. But I was trying to see if I could find Mike Vrabel, but I have all these pictures. I'm gonna bring up all the pictures of all my Super Bowls I've won. Now that we're here at the coaches, because when you go to coach information, it'll show you their stats since they started. It's pretty cool. So of course, we started out with Mike McCarthy. So what happens is, they'll win 3 Super Bowls, and then when they win their 4th or 3rd, they'll just leave because they've had enough. They've like, oh, it doesn't feel the same after the 3rd one, and then they'll just leave. But this is the history I had with Mike McCarthy, starting in 2010, 14-3, and then when I simulated, it was 11-7, and then 19-0, 18-1, 19-0, and then he left. And then we got Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel became a coach after being a player, which is really cool, man. And I brought him on as a head coach. I promoted him from coordinator to head coach, and you know he won 4 Super Bowls. He went 19-0, 18-1, 17-2. You know, he was our amazing head coach, and he won coordinator with the Super Bowl this year. But I've won 3 here. I won 3 here, 4 here, so that's 7 Super Bowls so far that I've won. And then we got Andy Reid after Vrabel retired, after Vrabel left in 2017. What? Oh. But Andy Reid, you know, ends up taking over in 2018, right? Yeah, in 2018. And wins 30 Super Bowls. 1 with us, and then 3 as the head coach. Or he won. Was he, or he must have been our O coordinator for a couple of years then, because he won 2 there, and then he won 2 here, and I'm pretty sure we didn't win this year. And then he left because he was like, yeah, I've won too many Super Bowls, I don't feel the same after the other one, and then he left. Or no, he went to a different team, and didn't do as well. Mike Vrabel right now is the coach of the, you know, the Desperados, the Dolphins, as I'm going to call them. Vince Young is a head coach of the Broncos right now. DeMarcus Ware is the head coach. Mike McCarthy's a head coach. There's Andy Reid. Andy Reid's the coach of the Seahawks. Peyton Manning's been a head coach before. He was a coach of the Falcons for a while. Kurt Warner was a head coach for a while. There's Culver. Culver was our safety for the longest time. And he was very solid. At least I think he was. I don't know. I've played so many franchises. But basically, yeah. I have to sign a new training staff, which is cool. You always want to go for the highest. I don't know why you wouldn't want to go for the highest. I could change owners. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to take ownership of the Desperados, and I'll be back. Oh my god. I'll be back when I switch them to the Dolphins. Okay. So, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to just move them and then take them off of CPU, but actually, I'm going to stay as user because I want to make sure they move. But, yeah, I can't, though. I just can't, because then I have to worry about all this, and all that, and all this, and they'll be moving. We'll find out next season if they'll move, but we're gonna move on with the offseason, into the actual offseason menu, where we get to the player stuff, and that's way more exciting. Okay, so now we can move on to the offseason schedule, which is always my fun part. We'll go into retired players. Let's see who retired. Barwin finally retired. Salute. Bronson retired. Bronson, you are a legend among men. I'm gonna screenshot these stats just so I can keep them. Bronson's a legendary quarterback. And he'll be in the Hall of Fame for sure. It's a shame we don't know if anybody goes in the Hall of Fame, but a legend. Bronson was an absolute legend among his men, you know. So, and he led his team to the, playoffs one last time. Thank you, Bronson, for your service. Let's see if anybody on our team retired. Warner. I'm so happy you get to retire as a Packer. Thank you so much for your service, Warner. I really, really, truly appreciate your service. I need to screenshot these stats too, because he leads the NFL. He's got the NFL record for interceptions right now. Thank you, Warner, for your service. I really, truly love you. My guy, you're the best. Thank you. Your story was amazing. You got picked up off the street, made a splash plays on special teams, and got to be our #1 starter for a long time. But now, your time has come to be retired as a Packers legend. We're gonna make through with retirement, and I kind of expected Warner and Bronson both retiring in the same year is funny. But Warner and Bronson gone. Barwin's retired now, so that's a lot of Packers legends retired now. And now we get to focus on our team. Alright, so now we'll move on to roster management. Roster management's always fun because you get to find out if anybody's holding out, or, who do we need to keep, who do we want to get rid of. Drayton, get out of here. Get out of here, Drayton. You can just, let people go. Polk, I haven't decided if I'm keeping. The count is gonna be gone. And everybody else I need to... you're probably gonna be gone. Everybody else I need to give more thought to. Wow, we have a lot of space. Holy Jesus. We have a lot of cap space. I didn't realize... If you look up there... Well, we have no cap. I turned off the cap because what's the fun in a cap? But you still have to run positive. In the positives, because if you run into negatives, they'll just boot you out of owning the team, but you can just take ownership. I've had that happen before, where I've run -2 million, -4 million in the red, and they'll just boot you out if you do it in consecutive years. So I'd usually just try to keep it. Now, players can hold out, which is really cool. That's one thing I really like. about Madden 10 is that players can hold out, and they will hold out if they think they deserve more money. And I always pay the players, you know. If a player holds out and I think they're playing well and they deserve the money, I'll give them the money. But if a player is holding out and if a player is holding out and I don't think they deserve the money, then I let them go. I just let them go. Because they don't deserve to, you know, be that. They don't need to be holding out if they're getting paid a F ton of money and they want even more money, you know. Alright, restricted free agents is always a fun one to go to. Ooh, Monaco's gonna be one. Swanson's gonna be one. Stratton's one. Calderon's one. Let's see if these guys have any offers. But if I can, I don't want Monaco back. I might take Stratton because he's gonna be a restricted free agent. Might as well take him. But I want to see if anybody will take offers because I want draft picks, of course. How can you not want draft picks? I'll withdraw my offer most likely. The loading times on this are atrocious. By the way, I should say, I'm playing this on emulator. But nobody wants him? Crazy. Let me go grab my copy of Madden 10. I have my copy of Madden 10 right here. I legally own this game. I was playing it on the disc, but the disc is... I mean, after you play like 1,000 hours on this, the disc gets all effed up and stuff, so it just looks messed up and stuff. So I had to eventually stop using the disc and, you know, get it very legally. But I own the game. I physically own the game. Yeah. It's mine. Also, I think we lost somebody. Oh. Does withdrawing the offer just cause him to go away? I'll keep Stratton. I'll keep Stratton because we need someone to return punts, but... I think withdrawing an offer just screws it up. There's my mouse. As you can see, I am playing this on the PS2 emulator, and I have played it with the disc before, because you can do that with the emulator. You can play it on disc with the PS2 physical copy, and I've done that. You can tell I've had this for a long time. The plastic on it's falling apart. I got this game probably when it came out, and I've just played the hell out of it. You know, I have a lot of stuff on PS2, but I don't have a PS2 to play it with. So, where the hell did Monaco go? I guess he's just gone. I don't think I want to keep anybody else. Sloan will be gone. Swanson will be gone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now we get to move on to re-signing players. And this is where... Three players are holding out. Three mother-effing players are holding out. You did not have a lot of pancakes this last season, dude. Alright, we'll go in order. Right, we can still... I'm keeping right at his deal right now because he's very cheap for how good of a quarterback he is. I'm surprised he didn't hold out. He was the one I was expecting to hold out. Davis, he's fine. Bowman... Do your thing. Wide receiver, it seems like I'm going to let everybody else go. Haynes is a tough one. Haynes is a very, very tough one to debate on. He's the one I wanted to debate the most on because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep him or not. Because he's getting old, you know. He's not that good anymore. And if he's going to keep playing in the NFL, then he's going to have to go play for another team, I'm thinking, because I need young receivers for this young quarterback to grow with. And he's not that guy anymore. His awareness is going down, his catch is going down. Like, he's just not that guy anymore. I'm sorry, Haynes. I'm very sorry you won't be retiring with the Packers. But everybody else will be gone, pretty much. Lucas deserves a chance on a different team, and hopefully he can get that chance on a different team. Marco Weasley's fine. John Doe. Yeah, let's keep you. For 5 years. Left guard is fine. Center is fine. You. Why are you holding out? I can roll with Richardson. His strength is the same. His agility is... and acceleration's a little... let's see what his run black. His pass block is trash. But that would get better with time. I think I'll keep Richardson. I'll give you a 4-year contract. Jimmy Miller. Okay, I think everything else is good here. Klein is good. Payne is good. Lumen, why are you holding out? Fine, I'll give you a 6-year contract. $1 bajillion. Because if that's what you want, that's what you want. I could trade you. I'm actually going to trade Perkins. Who has the #1 overall draft pick? Because this is what I do. I bring up players that I'm not really going to necessarily use that much, and then I trade them. Nah, Vikings can go after themselves. Vikings don't need a good D-line. They don't deserve it. Where is the 2nd overall pick? The Rams. I'll take the 1st round, sure. Bye. Bye. Have fun at the Rams. And Wolford can take over now. Amazing. Alright, left outside linebacker. I'm probably going to let you go. Middle linebacker. I should probably re-sign both of you to 3-year deals. I have a lot of cap space, like a lot of salary space. Blankert, fine. I'll give you a 5-year deal. I want to keep Kershaw. Whoopsie. I want to keep Kershaw. It's hard not to want to keep Kershaw. So they'll both be under contract for a while, and they cost a lot of money. Sindel, sure. We'll keep Sindel. Norman, of course, is staying with us long term. Cobb. Buckley, I'm going to re-sign you to a long-term deal. Because I want to keep you. Our punter. I'll wait until we get there. And then I want to say everybody else is gone. Yes, everybody else will be gone. We're going very heavy in the wide receivers this year when it comes to the draft. And that's what I'm going to do. We only have 2 wide receivers on our squad right now. Haynes, thank you so much for your contributions to the Packers, Green Bay Packers. But you are now a free agent. I was thinking maybe I should go to the... What's the wide receiver looking like? Hey! I forgot about him. So this guy was our... a receiver for us, and he was our leading guy, but he was just not good at all. So I just kind of let him go. I don't really want him. He wasn't even in the Pro Bowl. You know what? I'm going to go with a bunch of rookies. I don't think I'm going to make any moves in Because I've already got... Oh, I've only got 38 players. Well, I've only got 38 players. I'm going to have to make some moves in there. Well, I'm going to get a very, very low... Oh, hey, Tate's out there. Tate was another guy we drafted and was, you know, a guy for us. But I don't really want him. I need someone who's not that good. I'm gonna go to the draft. I should pick up a right guard. Think it's a right guard? Yes, need a backup right guard. ADOS. 10 years in the NFL, sure. Alright, what else do I need? I get a guard. I'm getting a halfback. Could just draft a defensive tackle. And an old side linebacker. And a cornerback and a safety. I have a lot of draft picks. I think that's all I'm gonna go for. And then I'll fill the roster with whatever else. I have 3 first-round picks. Like, that's dumb. That's incredibly dumb. But that's how these seasons usually go, is that I end up getting a bunch of draft picks just because I keep drafting and developing players and then trading them off because I don't necessarily need them because I'm not going to use them all the time. You know, I've got a franchise guy that I use, and then I end up drafting and developing another guy that can be a franchise guy for a different team because he's not going to be the franchise guy for this team because we already have a franchise guy. It's a thing. I'm getting Mario, by the way. It's to me. Oh yeah, that's Mario. Oh boy. But I mean, this is basically the offseason. Next, we get to do the draft. The draft is always my favorite, but I'm gonna go very wide receiver heavy in this draft. I'm gonna try and get the best wide receiver there is, but I gotta make sure he's good and he can, you know, catch balls for once. There's gonna be a lot of headaches this year, but that's expected when you have such a young core. But there should still be a lot of fun. This is gonna be a lot of fun next season just because of the rookies coming in. Just like how the current Packers are, their wide receiver core is very young. With Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Devontae Wicks. I think I said that name right. Samari Toure. I'm very excited for this team. For this, well, I'm going to talk about the current Green Bay Packers right now, while we're getting into the, you know, draft and stuff. As we're getting into the free agent signing being over. This Packers team is my age. Jordan Love is. Hold on. Jordan Love's only 9 months younger than me. I'm 9 months older than our current quarterback. And to be able to grow with this team at my age is what I'm mostly excited about, because this is a team that I'm going to be able to grow with on a personal level. And that makes me extremely, extremely excited. So we'll go to the draft. I don't usually play the All-Star game. When I go in, I usually just have to have the look to see who's the punt returner and kick returner, because I like to take their punt returner, kick returner, and, you know, draft them. And that's probably what I'm going to do this time. Good, we get to get into the game. I thought audio's actually shut off. That's good because it could be copyrighted for all I know. I'm receiving as the East. Good. Don't care. Alright, who do we got here for the punt return, kick return? Greg Reed. Greg Reed and M. Cohen. That's who we got. So that's who we want to keep an eye out for when we go and do scouting. I'm going to be putting a lot of focus on the wide receivers in this draft because I want to draft a bunch of them. That was kind of the goal, is to draft a bunch of wide receivers and have them grow with my young quarterback that I have. So we're going to go to rookie workouts, skip the thing, and we're going to go to wide receivers. So top 10 is the Simon. His 40 time is a 4.40. That's pretty decent. That can't be right. His bench rep is only 1? Nah, that can't be right. Nah. We'll do catch ball because I'm curious to know how he is with catching balls. That's always a good thing to try out. You only get 8 workouts, so you can only work out a certain amount of times. And I'm mostly going to be focusing on wide receivers for this one, just to see who I want for wide receivers. And this is basically like training camp, but for wide receivers. This guy's tall. He's a little slow for a wide receiver. And you have to catch all these balls. He's got hands. Oh, shit. He just doesn't have that speed, though. He's got hands, but his speed is just not great. Bruh. His hands is really good, though. Yeah, but his speed is a little slow. Brick that one. He bricked that one, too. He's not bad. He's actually pretty good. The fact that I got gold with this is pretty good. So he's pretty good. Let's see what the scouting report says. Alright, the scouting report says, consistent enough to eventually develop into a #1 starting wide receiver in the NFL, will flash the ability to make the acrobatic catch, will win many jump balls, and is a weapon in the red zone, fairly durable player. Okay, so he's probably going to be the guy I draft first. Then I want to go for a speedy guy next. S. Palmer. His bench reps are just as bad. That means these people have like no strength at all. But his 40 time is very good. Yeah, let's have a look-see at S. Palmer. Hold on, before we go, we can go to NFL draft info, and we can see the draft order I have. I have the 2nd overall pick, the 15th overall pick, and the 32nd overall pick. And then I have the 15th and the 32nd and the 2nd, and then 32nd for the rest. So that I'm basically going to draft probably like 3 wide receivers. But we're going to try out this Palmer, and then we'll do Cohen next. That's preview. That's not the rookie workout. So we're going to do S. Palmer next, because I need a speedy guy. We're just going to do catch ball and see how he does. He might drop a lot of passes. That would be my expectation. His bench reps are abysmal, so the strength kind of concerns me a little bit. But I guess that doesn't matter for a wide receiver unless they're run blocking. But I guess they're not going to be run blocking that well, because they're just going to get steamrolled. Well, this guy's quick. Ooh. Woo. Okay, okay, okay. Ooh. Okay. Okay, I love that animation. This guy's pretty good. Oh, for the love of Christ. He dropped that one. He dropped that one, too. I want to get the gold. Nice. I can't believe that actually caught that. Oh, let's go. Nice. We got gold. Gold will tell us the scouting report. That's what we want to unlock, is the scouting report. And I'm playing, I should mention, we're going to go back, when we're going back to the thing, I'm playing with a PS4 controller. And eventually I want to get a PS5 controller when they're not abysmally expensive. But, let's have a look. I actually want to look at Simon's workout. His hands are great, and his IQ is amazing, so that's good. Palmer. His hands are great, and his IQ is amazing. Consistent enough to eventually develop into a #1 starting wide receiver in the NFL. His consistency catching the football is still a concern. Has excellent leaping ability, catching the ball at its highest point, has been extremely durable. Cool. So he's probably going to be the second guy we draft. Just doesn't have consistency catching the ball. And then the guy we'll draft at the end of the first round, we're going to test with a kickoff return, because I saw he was #1 in kickoff return on one of those. So this is one, it's just simple. Okay, my controller disconnected for a second there. We're just going to see how he handles running. He is tiny. This guy's tiny. He breaks tackles. This one's easy to get medals in, because it just matters how far you go, and you can go pretty far. So you already got gold. Boot. Trying to get out of bounds there. So going out of bounds on a kickoff return don't really matter. Very nice. And he's off center. He's supposed to be centered with the camera and he's not. Classic. I need a save before this game ends up crashing. Back to rookie run workouts. Cohen does not grade out as an elite receiver prospect, but should be a good #2. His consistency catching the football is still a concern. Will win jump balls, and is a weapon in the red zone. Will develop nagging injuries. Okay. So he's probably gonna be the next guy I get. His kick return is actually below average. Oh, okay. So he's not actually that great. Is this another Haynes? What is this? This is another Charles Haynes. Are you kidding me? And he's fast as... Alright, we're gonna work out Haynes here. And he could be the guy we end up drafting late in the first. Because that would be really funny if we let our original Haynes go and then this guy picks it up like immediately. Oh! Alright, I'm already impressed by this guy. Never mind. Ugh. Okay. okay. I mean, this guy has a lot of trouble catching balls. But he will be like wide receiver number 3. Couldn't get it. Well, I mean, at least we'll know if his hands are any good. But it seems like his he drops a lot of balls still. His consistency catching the ball isn't that great, but he'll be number 3 and we can develop him. That's probably who I'm gonna go for, honestly, in the round 1, 32. His hands are great. He didn't get a scouting report, but that's fine. Let's do Greg Reed on the kickoff return. So if I can get him with the 15th, second round 2, pick 15, I'd like to. I've had a Greg Reed before, and he was average. He wasn't anything to write home about, and I ended up letting him go at some point. But we do need somebody behind Stratton. That's the thing. We need somebody behind Stratton. Well, he's not that fast. And he fumbled. And he fumbled. Alright, I guess we're not going for wide receiver in that round 2. And he fumbled it. Alright, he fumbles the ball a lot. That's a problem. So I'm probably not going to end up picking him up. Well, now I only have 3. We're going to go to safety and see how the safety draft is looking. Who? Not great. I could probably pick this guy up in the 2nd round. Maybe. Let's have a look-see. Let's see what this guy's got to offer. Chase and tackle's the easiest one to do. Yeah, we'll do chase and tackle. Yeah. He's a hard tackler. Let's see what his, may take a few years to develop into a starter, shows good speed for freezing. Has developed into a sound open field tackler. I've never had a problem with injuries in the past. Okay, probably take him then at some point. Probably in the late 2nd round. There's not much else I'm truly interested in. I do need a defensive tackle, but like, what the hell am I gonna do? So I'm just gonna advance through rookie, and we'll go to the draft. Now we get to draft our players, and this is always fun.
Minnesota is now on the clock.
That's cool. I'm gonna up the speed, and it's just gonna. So we're gonna take a Simon. And now we're on the clock again.
Now on the clock.
And our wide receiver that we wanted is, I think, gone. No. Yeah, this is the other guy we wanted. Palmer. We're going to take Palmer. All first-round picks are going to be used on a wide receiver. That's amazing. And then we're going to get Haynes next.
Green Bay is now on the clock.
Yep, we're going to get Haynes next. And now we get to kind of... Now it starts to speed through as it goes through, you know. I usually put it at fast, and then I just go through it. I'm going to actually have a look-sees through here. Because I believe... Huh? What happened to the guys I scouted? They really took that safety? Oh my god, the Tigers took him. That's messed up. I think they see me stealing all the wide receivers and... yeah. Well, poop. I guess I'll take this guy. And then I'll take a defensive tackle with it's 232.
Now on the clock, the Green Bay Packers.
Yes. Apparently I'm having a good draft. That's a lot of cheers to be having.
Green Bay.
Okay, who do I want now? What? I got a bunch of wide receivers. I got a safety. I need 2 outside. I'll pick up outside linebackers on me. I got a defensive tackle. I need a cornerback. That's not what I wanted. I need to draft a cornerback.
Now on the clock, Green Bay Packers.
He is slow as hell. A lot of cheers just for me drafting people.
Green Bay is now on the clock. Green Bay is now on the clock.
Alright, I got a left outside linebacker. I'll go get a right outside linebacker now.
Now on the clock, Green Bay Packers.
Oh my god, okay. Pooey. I will take a free safety. Because why not? And then I'll take a right outside linebacker. Hopefully.
Green Bay is now on the clock.
And we'll take him because I need him. And then I get to choose Mr. Irrelevant.
Green Bay is now on the clock.
No more quarterbacks, no more halfbacks. There's one wide receiver. I'm not about to take a wide receiver. Sure, I'll take a cornerback. That was a lot of cheering. Roster management, we got nothing to do. People will be released, and then you get to sign your draft pick. I always love to go to the draft grades. I had a A-. I never have an A-. I always have an F when it comes to drafting. Like, I'm always like, F. Your draft sucked. A-. An A- draft. Let's go. I had the 3rd best draft. Let's sign our draft picks. Simon, you're going to be with us for a while. The 3 wide receivers I got, you're all going to be with us for a while. I have plenty of money to spend. And I got a new Haynes, which is just extremely funny, and that's just really funny to me. And now we just sign everybody because I have a lot of money. I'm surprised by how much money I have. Honestly. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains with this team this year. Yeah, this is going to be a fun season to me. Because we got a very young team now. And I picked up another cornerback, because why not? How about that? An A- draft. I never have an A- draft. Ever. Ever. Now I have 3 wide receivers that are very solid, probably, and very young. I have a very young core. Very young. Alright, free agency signing. Let's see my breakdown. I have 50 players. I'm going to pick up another middle linebacker. Alright, we got Steely. And we got our other guys. And now while this is going through, I'm just going to let this through. Okay, so now free agency is over. The second free agency period is over. The teams get automatically filled, which is funny. because sometimes teams will just overload on one thing and then not care about the other thing. And now we get to go through our depth chart. I mean, this one's obvious. Keeping right there. This one's obvious too. We're going to keep there. We're going to keep Leroy Davis there. Tyson's going to be there, and then Simon's going to be there. Fullback is going to probably stay the same. Wide receiver is wide the hell open. I mean, wide receiver is wide the hell open when it comes to this. Everybody could use... Charles Haynes is 84. He looks like Haynes too, man. What the heck? That's so weird. Haynes' speed is 97. Oh my god. Well, right now we're going to keep Bright here. We're going to have Stratton here, but he's probably going to fall because his catch isn't actually that bad. Everybody's jump ball is real good. But we'll keep people as is right now, and we'll let the position battles play out in the preseason, which is what I usually do. I mean, nothing's changing at tight end. Nothing's changing here, 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 and here. Left edge isn't changing. Right edge isn't changing. Defensive tackle isn't changing. Outside linebacker isn't changing. Middle linebacker isn't really changing. Right outside linebacker isn't changing. Now, cornerback could change. Because these two always line up opposite ends of each other. And Blankart, I mean, his catching is abysmal. That's his problem. Can't catch any balls. But he's very good at being locked down. So I think I'm going to make him number 1. And Kershaw could be number 2. And Sindel will get more snaps. Sindel's a guy I drafted? Oh, I guess I drafted him. Cool. And there you go. There's cornerback group. Kershaw, and Blinker, and Sindel will all be there. Free safety is a pretty easy one. I picked up Cobb. I guess I should put Cobb there, and then we can put the rookie in. Not what I wanted to do. D. Wells, rookie. Buckley will, of course, be there. Rusty McCown is back, because why not? He'll be number 2 now. And then our kicker and punter, whatever. Kick return. Oh. These guys aren't that great. Stratton's still 99, but his carry is kind of... Ooh, all their carries are bad. Huh. Wow. Yeah. So I picked him up. Anyways, we'll probably put Stratton in and have Palmer be second, and then Bright, and then... Yeah, we're good there. And then punt returns can be Palmer. And then Trent, etc., Bright. Kickoffs will be Campbell still. Long snapper will be Welch still. 3-down running back will be Tyson. Yeah, Tyson. And then Mario can be 3rd. Yep. Yeah. Okay, and that's your depth chart. And this is your 2026 Green Bay Packers. Of course, I'll play through this season like I usually do, and I'm kind of like just laid back because I'm chilling. I'm always chilling when I'm doing this stuff. Usually, when I do play this, I usually playing it as like a background game, not really to pay attention to, and I usually watch videos, movies, whatever, you know. This is probably going to be a pretty high score because my draft grade was as good as it could be. Rival game victories: 1. Win all home games, win all away games, undefeated, home field advantage in playoffs, 13 Pro Bowl players, 16 player awards. And I'm surprised top 10 defense was not graded. That sucks. I had a top 10 defense. And then I don't think I'm going to do training camp for this video. I think that's about it for this video. I got everything I wanted to say out of it. But this is your 2026 Green Bay Packers. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a lot of growing pains, of course, but we still have a solid O-line, a solid D-line, solid linebackers, solid secondary. I mean, we could be another top 10 defense this year if we really wanted to. We have a lot of 99 overall people, and we're paying them nothing, essentially. I mean, look at that team's salary compared to last year. Like, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave, well, I mean, I'm uploading this on my not main channel because that's where I want to put it. So yeah, you can leave a like, share it if you could, please. I'd like as many people to know about this as possible because I put a lot of time and dedication into this series. As shown, you know, I've been playing pretty much every game for the past, I don't even know how long. You know, this is the record on the profile, 627, 101 in 1. I changed the Dolphins. It still says Dolphins. Mike Tomlin's still our head coach, and that's that. Thank you for watching. And I hope you have a good day.